Okay, I'm 23 minutes late. My apologies for that. We probably should just set the show to start at 10 o'clock. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
I'm all right. I'm watching anime girls getting in bloody ring for DDT. I'm putting that in the background for tonight because this is first time I've seen this. Crisis. Nice. One of the promo bits that I saw as a still is basically one of the women as if they're gonna just about to deep throat a vibrator.
Oh boy!
I don't know what happened because it's a still image, but god damn it, DDT.
As always, this show has contained some harsh language, so if you are offended, then this probably isn't the show for you.
Okay, deep throating a vibrator's adult content. I haven't sworn.
Yet.
I
know you too well. The answer is yet.
Reasons.
As always. So, once again, we are going to, if you haven't heard the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast before, this is our hodgepodge show. This is where we talk about anything and everything. We're going to be talking Smackdown, which something happened that made me extremely happy. We'll get to that later. 205 Live, NXT, and then we're going to talk about mixed martial arts and UFC, and we're going to finish off with Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact, the Indies, all around the globe, and everything else, as I put it in the actual description itself, under the sun. Sit back, relax, enjoy another evening here at the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. Ashley, you know what made me happy on SmackDown? Let's talk about it, shall we?
Hang on, I'm just having to literally make notes for the UFC stuff later, or well, the Bellator stuff, because they literally just made an announcement about 20 minutes ago. Yes, a rather eventful SmackDown for quite a few reasons.
I'm very happy about something for good reason.
So we open with Shane and says, they just came up short. He's proud of the entire roster. They bleed blue and bring it every night, apart from Kevin and Sammy. And Kevin's like, so, is this death-defying Shane McMahon we're getting tonight, or drunk with power Commissioner Shane? Must be great to have a different excuse every week as to why you failed. And Sammy just adds on saying, well, it must be exhausting, So is it hard to come up with new excuses for failing, or man up and just apologizing to say that you're wrong? And Kevin's like, you should be on our knees begging us for forgiveness, because we can beat anybody. We'd have beaten the Shield. We'd have beaten Raw if it was 2-on-5. Either of us could and would beat Brock. Be a man, Shane. Say you're sorry. And Shane says, you're speaking to Commissioner tonight, not Shane. And you've got no, Kevin, you got no respect for any star in WWE, yet alone the SmackDown roster. And clearly you don't have any respect for me. So it's only fair that I deliver 2 words. And Kevin's just like, look, you can't fire us. We're too valuable. The locker room likes us. Why fire 2 future WWE Hall of Famers? And Shane is like, you're delusional. I'm going to take great pride in saying these words to both of you. Sammy, Kevin, your Daniel Bryan interrupts and says, look, Shane, you've got every right to fire them, but before you do, how about you put your personal feelings aside? And Kevin's like, look, Bryan's the voice of reason. And basically he tells them both to shut up. Daniel does, and says, I've got a better temporary solution than to terminate the contracts. Everybody hates him. Hell, I had to send Orton home because he wouldn't be responsible for anything that happened. So there's all the fans going, wow, We barely got anything from them. God damn it. And so, yeah, they're going to face New Day in a 2-on-3 handicap match. But not just that, it's also going to be a lumberjack match. So now we get first match, Jey Uso versus Shelton Benjamin, which ain't bad. Shelton winning with pay dirt. Worth noting, that is Shelton's first singles match in WWE in 7 years. So then Sammy and Kevin are trying to get Baron Corbin on their side and says, I don't like either of you. And then they try to go to Bobby Roode and get him to be on their side and says, you do realize that I was in the match that you ruined. You know, you ruined it for everybody, not just myself, all the locker room. So I owe you both a receipt. So Naomi's in the makeup area. And, you know, she's upset that they lost the Survivor Series match, but pleased that Charlotte won. And then, oh, hi, Naomi. Here's Ruby Riott. Here's Liv Morgan. Here's Sarah Logan. They beat the shit out of her. And then Becky Lynch shows up. And just to prove that she's being fucking buried, she gets destroyed. And then, basically, it's like, wow. I'm surprised to see these NXT girls here with Daniel. But then again, I do like the idea that you put up with the lumberjack match. And, you know, fact is, everybody's going to get their hands on him, and then Daniel can fire them both. I'm going to watch this from the hotel room, you know, because I need to rest up. So good luck later on, Daniel. So now it's time for the Hype Bros versus Harper and Rowan, because they are Cesaro now. They have no first names.
What is the deal with WWE? I feel like Seinfeld right now. What's the deal with dropping the first name of all the superstars in the WWE?
Hey, Harper, Rowan, you like jazz?
Yeah.
They win in about 90 seconds. Hype Bros get murdered.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with half of that, but still not the other one.
So then Natalia's talking about how, you know, the women's division's changing, and, you know, the only change to worry about is the title match tonight when she beats Charlotte. Then they recap AJ and Brock. And AJ makes his way out. And then they replay Paul Heyman's comments about him and says, look, the dream would be I'm out here celebrating slaying the beast, but hell, it didn't happen. I tried everything trick in the book, but hell, he's the beast that he says he is. And, you know, people have congratulated me for holding my own against him. And even Paul respected my effort. But the fact is, you don't get trophies for second place. But if you look after that match, I wasn't the one that was limping to the back. Hey, if you ever want a rematch, Brock, we'll do it. And remember, Rocky 2, the underdog wins. But now it's time to talk about SmackDown. And, you know, it's time to talk Jinder, because he says he's going to take the title away from me on here. So it's like, okay, if you want it, come and get it. And then Jinder's on the Tron, now with a giant Indian flag behind him, and saying, this isn't how it works. I'm showing up when I want to show up. You know, I've been analyzing that match with Brock over and over. You took advantage of me because I was preparing for Brock. And, you know, let's be honest, if I faced Brock, I would be the Beastmaster. And AJ's like, shut up. And then Jinder says, the people of India will be looking up to me. You know, my rematch will be at Clash of Champions. And then the Singhs attack AJ from behind. And Jinder does sort of maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh.
He turned into Chris Cooper.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm actually watching this live. The opening match of a DDT thing is there. Oh no, it's the actual video package opening it. I've just seen actual footage of Speedball Mike Bailey actually having to use Google Translate for his promo because the translator that they hired apparently wasn't able to make it. God, that was even the guys that are supposed to be on the joke were laughing their ass off because Google Translate's so accurate. I'm talking about that because Jesus Christ, Jinder is fucking terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible.
I'll give them credit. They're keep trying with him. I mean, it's not working at all, but they're trying.
That's
they're
the
not going to
problem.
give up.
That's the problem. They're trying.
Yeah, I know.
And then Owens and Zayn are like, who are we going to get on our side? Oh, shit. It's Rusev Day. Ah! And Aiden English is doing a new version of Rusev Day song. And Sammy goes, look, we're French Canadian. Who gives a damn about Thanksgiving? Let's celebrate Rusev Day instead. And we're not screwing over SmackDown. We're screwing the people that were screwed over by Shane and Bryan. Keep in mind, Rusev, you were supposed to have a qualifying match. They scrapped it. And John Cena got in place instead. Rusev Day is better than New Day. So now it's Charlotte and Natalya in a rematch for the women's title. So the interesting thing is here, it's getting pretty eventful. Charlotte hitting a spear, Natalya going for a discus clothesline, and Natalya goes to the floor. And then from out of nowhere, Riot, Logan, and Morgan are back.
Yes.
And beat the shit out of Natalya. And beat the shit out of Charlotte. Logan hits a running boot to Charlotte's ribs. Liv Morgan does a pretty sweet looking gut buster. And Ruby with a beautiful jumping round kick. And my only problem, of course, with this is
Copy and paste from
why the fuck are we doing the same storyline? Because you got the emo chick with the weird lipstick. You've got the one that looks like Carmella. And you've got the other one.
Hey.
No, but literally.
I've been waiting for a long time for this to finally happen. I'm going to just take this in.
Well, no, it's just literally with both of them. It's like the one which you can't describe because they're both different to each other.
Right.
Sonya and Logan. But to be honest, Liv and Mandy are sort of Carmella-esque. Paige and Ruby Riott are emo-esque. It's way too. They're even doing the same fucking poses. It's like this isn't helping the situation. This is not helping the situation.
Okay. So let's talk about this real quick, because obviously this is one of the parts of the show that I actually I have a little bit of investment in.
Also, there goes my idea of actually putting Ruby Riott on the A show.
Yeah.
sticking her on SmackDown. Then again, this of course does mean women are getting cut sooner rather than later. So I don't know whether Tamina's got much time left, or Lana to some extent. Then again, she hasn't been doing that much wrestling.
Total Divas would keep Lana and
yeah,
honestly.
That'll make sense. But
okay.
Yeah. Hype.
I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I've been talking about this, and I've been championing this idea for a long time. Now, granted, she should be on Raw and she should be Sister Abigail, like I've been saying all along. But that didn't happen because they wanted to go the Anthony Perkins route for some reason with the character. But at any rate, I am so happy. So happy. Not just the fact that I'm a fan, not just the fact that I was very fortunate enough to run into her and Ray last year at the park. And I actually was able to say hello. But I've been a big, crazy Mary Dobson fan for a long time. And when she got signed to the company, I was wondering what would happen. And then now she's on the main roster. Now, granted, she's on Smackdown, which is the brand I don't watch because, well, Tuesdays are really weird for me because I'll either have plans or I'll have work. So it's going to be really hard to watch it. But between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, between Fandango and Tyler Breeze, and now Crazy Mary's on the main roster, I may have to start watching SmackDown just for those reasons.
That's my gimmick.
Yeah, I'm aware. You steal mine all the time, so we're even now. The thing is,
hey, I had to use. That's all we've got to say about that. While you were gallivanting with bloody some excellent dudes.
Yeah, and in other words, well, most excellent friends. In other words, what can I say? But the thing is, I will say right now that yeah, you and AJ kept the network afloat during Horror Nights, and you do every single year, and I appreciate that.
I had every right to borrow slogans, catchphrases, whatever.
But yeah, that's pretty much. I'm super excited about this. Heidi Lovelace getting in the main roster is pretty awesome as well.
The fact that, like, part of me is now going, get rid of Sonya Deville.
Thank God, yes.
Get rid of Sonya and put in Abby Leif. If we're bringing up Ruby, that's the perfect time. Or
I mean, honestly,
because my girl is now getting active on Twitter, and because I'm thinking something might be happening next Wednesday. I don't know. Perhaps we need some Nixon in our life.
Oh, perhaps I need to start watching the social media of Full Sail's website to try to get tickets to the show. Let me check to see what I work that day.
This is where it gets even more interesting, though, because Daniel's asked backstage, what do you have to say about what just happened in the women's title match? And he's just like, I have nothing to say. Oh, Daniel's behind this shit. Daniel's taking over, and Shane's going to be considered a heel. That's the thing. I don't think they realize as soon as Daniel turns on Shane, people will not give a shit about Shane.
Nope. Not one bit.
Daniel can heal it up as much as he wants. It won't happen. Daniel is literally Stone Cold level of he can never be a heel. Anymore, at least. And then Kevin and Sammy show up and says, you know, look, we know we're going to get ripped up apart. And, you know, if you fire us, it'll be the biggest mistake you ever make. And Daniel's like, hey, good luck tonight. So then next week, AJ is facing both the Sings in a handicap match, and the Fashion Files will be returning, and it's going to have a sore little theme.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm excited now.
So the main event, Kofi and Big E versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. The thing worth noting about this, Xavier Woods is actually dressed as a lumberjack. I guess he's taking it to heart.
I guess.
Now the lumberjacks get into a big fight after there's some accident. Corbin hits a forearm to Bobby Roode. So the lumberjacks go at it, and then while the referee's going, "What's all this shit?" Kofi hits his running forearm on Kevin, but Zayn's the legal guy. Rolls up Kofi, and Sami and Kevin win. So Rusev and English attack Big E. Kevin runs through the crowd. And as Sami's about to make it out as well, Kofi hits a crossbody off the turnbuckle to stop him. And Xavier puts Sami back in the ring, and he basically destroys Sami with the Trouble in Paradise in the Midnight Hour. Then Kevin's in the back and gets to Daniel and says, "Please don't fire us. Please don't fire us." And Daniel's like, "You really care about Sami considering you've left him behind?" "Oh, I do. It's just, please don't fire us. Please don't fire us." And Brian's like, "I was never going to fire you. I recognize your guy's talent. Next week, though, Kevin, you've got Randy Orton." And again, it's like, oh shit. I think I see what's happening here. I think the Gentleman of Honor might be making elevation in the company.
Yeah, I could see a Ring of Honor stable coming real soon.
And not even Undisputed Era.
Nope.
Just Steen and Danielson and Generico. And then whoever else we can drag in.
The thing, you got to make them. You got to make them the heels here, and they're only going to be heels to the general fans. The diehards are going to love them,
and they're the most vocal.
Exactly.
Also, I like the fact that barely anybody chanted NXT when those girls did debut, because they don't watch NXT.
No, not anymore, unfortunately.
And that was the same problem with the night before. They popped the page because they knew Paige, but the other ones they didn't react to. And there's the issue, really. So then we get to 205 Live. And there's a turkey backstage for some reason. And Enzo's with Dar, Davari, and Nice. And Enzo's like, well, you're all in matches tonight. And you'll be facing all the four schmucks that interrupted us on Raw last night. When you're on the Zoe train, you got to rep the brand like a barbell. Now, Christmas might be coming early for one of you. One of you might get a future title match. And then Drew Gulak comes in, dressed in a turkey costume, and goes, "How are you doing, sir?" He's like, "What are you?" But he drew, "I'm the gobbledygulacker." Yes!
Oh my God,
Yes!
That's amazing.
So then we get to the first match and Gulak comes out. The great thing is, he's in a street fight with Tozawa. Guess what? He's dressed for a street fight. AKA, he looks like Nick Gage. He's got like
That's funny.
he's got like well no, it's like he's got like denim short jeans
Right.
and a generic shirt and whatever. Because it's a street fight. You don't come in fancy clothes, you don't come in wrestling attire.
No, you don't. It's like a bunkhouse brawl.
So before anything, he's like, no chanting. I'm a proud member of the Zo Train, and I am Enzo adjacent. Now the question, of course, if Enzo is from the streets, then by proxy, I am from the streets. And to clean up the streets in my street fight, I will do whatever it takes to end the chants. And I'll prove everybody I'm willing to roll up my sleeve or just cut off my sleeves. Now it's time for the PowerPoint presentation. Except Tozawa shows up. So this street fight, I don't know what the shit it's doing on this show, because this show is normally shit. This match was pretty damn awesome. Finishing with Tozawa hitting a back senton for a table on Gulak. That match was really, really good. Loads of good spots in terms of using the obviously street fight stuff. Not too much really with the weapons, just more doing stuff sort of on the outside and using barriers and whatever. Then, that confirms Hideo Itami's coming to 205 Live soon.
It's a good pickup for them. But
now we're
205.
backstage. Go ahead.
But it seems like I don't understand why, because are they really trying to rebuild 205 Live after what happened with Neville leaving?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Later. Back to the Thanksgiving party. Niece is like, I don't care how good Itami is, because the Zo Train dominates. Better do better than Drew to stay on the train. And then Swan, Alexander, and Ali show up and say, we'll embarrass you again. And Enzo's like, defend this train as if your lives depend on it. So, Ali versus Nice. Not too bad. Nice winning with a running knee after throwing Mustafa in the into the ring post and whatever. And Enzo's like, that's how you represent the Zo Train. We'll knock the smile off Alexander and Dar now. Because Rich Swann will be eating his dinner out of a straw. And now Drew's back in the gobbledygooker costume. And says, can I get out? Because I forgot to go to the bathroom before getting in the costume. So then we actually get the tag team match with Daivari and Dar with Enzo versus Alexander and Swan. And again, not too bad a match. Swan and Alexander winning after Swan hits the Phoenix Splash. He did the deal. I think he did the deal.
He usually does, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did this time around.
But then afterwards, Enzo and Daivari attack Swan, and Alexander tries to help, and then Tozawa and Ali come out and are stopped by Gulak and Nice, and they attack him, and all three are laid out. And then, led by Enzo, all five of them do, or in most cases, attempt to do the Enzo sidestep thing. The great thing is, Dar, terrible, but he's like waving his finger as if to go, not today, son. It's away with it. Nice doesn't know how to do it. Davari doesn't know how to do it. Gulak's a fucking machine. He's doing it better than Enzo. It's like, my God, that guy got groove. Stella, you better go to Drew Gulak because that's where you're gonna get your groove back. Just rhymed. Holy shit. That's 205 Live. Better than usual. What the shit is going on?
NXT.
So, not a huge amount on here. Before we get to the two matches, the stuff that they had rounding up, Takeover. They had Ono versus Sullivan, and then they had a promo with Sullivan. Now, the issue here.
Does he need a mouthpiece? Because it really seems like I think he would.
No! Quite the opposite.
Well, that's good.
What he needs is creative to tell him whose side he's on. Because the way he cuts this promo, he's a babyface.
Oh, boy.
He's like, you know, everybody's been put in my way, and I said I'm going to deliver. And so far I've done so. And you know what? Anybody in the locker room, I throw down a challenge to you. Can you defeat me? Because I think not. That style thing. But it's like, oh my God. This guy, who I guess they're trying to make out to be this giant great heel, cut a baby face promo. What the shit? What the shit? Then they just recapped the whole Velveteen Dream Aleister Black stuff with the whole promo afterwards saying Velveteen Dream. Then they had the women's match with comments from Ember Moon saying, you know, it'll be tough to get the belt off me. She drops the belt at the next set of tapings. Lol. Don't say I didn't warn you. Then we had a video package with McIntyre and Almas, and then an interview with McIntyre saying he doesn't know what state his shoulder's in, but he sort of felt something tear in it. So still got to wait and see from the medics and whatever as to the status there. And then the War Games thing was recapped with afterwards Undisputed Era in the corridors backstage basically saying, we've proven everybody that we belong. Now it's time to make our mark even more so. So the matches. Ruby Riott versus Sonya Deville. Oh yeah, let's randomly edit in video packages of them showing up on their respective brands. Because that makes sense. Anyway, Sonya's basically wanting Ruby to tap. She's working on the leg for a heck of a lot of the match. Gets her in sort of the ankle lock. But she manages to somehow get to the ropes, Ruby does. Sonya only just breaks up the 5 count. Or breaks up the hold at the 5 count. And then immediately gets the spinning Pele off her. And that's enough for the 3 count. Sonya looks fucking terrible. And to be honest, Ruby Riott looks sort of terrible because then afterwards she started limping because I'm pretty sure that the leg she striked with was the one that she was limping on. So who knows?
I see what they see in Sonya Deville by the look alone. She's got the look, but she has nothing else.
Hmm. And then Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano.
God, I want to see this match. I'm gonna have to watch it back.
Yes, you will. This was beautifully done. The finish, I mean, there were so many false finishes and like double like knockout spots and whatever. But the one bit I really did like, Gargano locks in the Gargano escape.
Mm-hmm.
Pete's about to tap. And then he grabs up to his face. And he pulls out his mouth guard. And he starts biting Johnny's fingers to get out of the hold.
That's awesome.
And there were loads of false finishes, really good back and forth sort of stuff. And then bitter end, and your boy wins. Thank God. And that's NXT for this week. Next week, from what I remember, there was also a bit with like, I guess at Full Sail, the Street Profits going crazy on some car or something on the roof anyway. And then
I don't get this at all.
I'm guessing it's Moss and Sabatelli's car, maybe, or whatever.
Probably.
Sort of saying, sort of Four Horsemen style, like, yeah, we'll have fun with the Playboy lifestyle and whatever. You have your cups and your fans and whatever that are just following you because you're the hot thing. And the great thing is the fans are like they're doing the Street Profits are doing the whole air sweeping away Ross and Sabatelli. And like 3 of the fans like randomly join in at the same time. Like, okay. So they're facing each other in a tag match next week, along with Peyton Royce versus Kairi Sane. I'm trying to remember whether those are the matches that were done at NXT San Antonio or not.
No.
In which case, those matches are either airing live on the network or they're airing on tape delay.
Interesting.
Because I don't remember them, unless they recorded like then they never got broadcast. I can't remember.
I mean, I just checked my schedule a few minutes ago, and if I can get there, NXT starts at like 6:30, and I am off at 4. So conceivably, I could go if I have a way to go.
Probably. Sorry, some anime girls were just in the ring, and then somebody had blood spray out of their mouth, and they died. God love DDT.
Indeed.
So yeah, that's your WWE block, I guess.
Yep, and that will bring us now to our mixed martial arts news for the week.
Holy shit. First, we better get to the stuff that happened this past week and coming up before we get to the news, because that's been pretty crazy just within the last hour. So the show in Sydney, Australia, pretty good. Admittedly, there were some issues in terms of the fact that there were 4 people missing weight at the weigh-ins, which isn't great. The matches still went ahead as catchweight belts because they were only sort of a few pounds over and whatever, so it wasn't dramatically bad. But with the main card bit, we had Alexander Volkanovski beat Shane Young. That being a catchweight. Then a middleweight belt saw Elias Theodorou beating Dan Kelly via unanimous decision. Well, actually, it's worth noting all these went to decisions on the main card. Jake Matthews beat Bohan Velikovic on a split decision. Bilal Muhammad beat Tim Means also on a split decision. Jessica Rose Clark beat Beck Rawlings, another split decision here. It is worth noting, though, that is Beck's debut in the company as sort of a last-minute replacement on like a week or two's notice. And from what I've heard, the performance from her was good enough to make people go, she's probably got a permanent contract with the UFC now. And then Fabricio Verdum beat Marcin Tybura quite considerably. Two judges gave it 50-45 and the other 49-46. So, yeah, every single match on the main card went to decision. On the Fox Sports 1 prelims, there was only one decision. The others were knockouts and submissions. And then 3 more decisions came on the Fight Pass prelims as well. In terms of the bonuses, performances of the night went to Nick Lentz beating Will Brooks on the prelim card on Fox Sports 1 for his guillotine choke submission midway through the second round. And also Ty Tuivasa, who is also on the Fox Sports 1 prelims. He beat Rashad Coulter with a flying knee late on in the first round. Fight of the night went to Frank Camacho and Damian Brown. I have heard, though, that because of the fine, because he didn't make weight, Camacho didn't get the $50,000. One thing he did put out as a statement said, if I can't have the money, I think my opponent should have it. So I don't know what's happened with that. Whether the other guy that was part of the match got the money for what happened, I'm not sure, but yeah, that went down. So yeah, it's the longest running UFC event in history because it went over 3 hours. And that's just in terms of obviously fighting and whatever. So this coming week, UFC heads to China properly for the first time. For the previous few years, it's been in Macau, but this is going to be the first one that's going to be in mainland China. So the main event of this one is Bisping and Gastelum. If you're wondering how Bisping can fight, technically he shouldn't be able to, because obviously 3 weeks ago he fought GSP. He's under a medical suspension. It was issued by the New York Athletic Commission. But because China isn't under the Boxing Commissions Association and whatever, he can fight. So I think Bisping's penultimate fight before his retirement, at least it seems, is going to be in the main event against Kevin Gastelum. The other 3 matches that are part of the main card, which is all on Fight Pass, by the way, because it's in China, so times are a bit awkward. Li Jingliang takes on Zach Otto in the welterweights. Then there's a featherweight contest with Wang Juan versus Alex Caceres, and the opener for the main card sees Muslim Sakharov versus Alex Garcia in the welterweight division. On the prelims, heavyweight bout with Cyril Asker versus Yu Zhong Hu. Again, that match is one that's had to be changed because of an out-of-competition drug test on Asker's scheduled opponent, James Mulheron. Luigi Buren faces Rolando Dai in the featherweights. Then there's a women's bantamweight bout with Lian Wu versus Gina Mazzani. Chase Sherman versus Shamil Abrakamov in the heavyweights. Then the bantamweights, Yedung Song versus Bharat Kandare. Kalian Curran versus Yin Yao Chan in the women's strawweight division. Then there's a welterweight bout with Keen Song versus Bobby Nash. And then the featherweight main event, Zabit Magbon Sharapov takes on Shayman Moraes. So that's the results, but the news, oh boy. Some doozies breaking through this week. It could be argued. So, Colby Covington has pressed charges against Fabricio Verdun. This apparently did sort of break, or at least I heard about it after we went off air last Wednesday. There was a confrontation between Covington and Verdun. Verdun, obviously, in Australia fighting, and Covington there because publicity. Verdun apparently got so angry at Covington for whatever reason, he literally threw a boomerang at his face. Apparently, Verdun claims that it's because Covington called him a filthy Brazilian and slapped a phone out of Covington's hand, and Covington then kicked him. So he basically did it as self-defense. Colby's claimed that Fabricio actually sucker punched him. They're investigating it as well. Also, Colby's being investigated after basically claiming to have been punched and saying that Verdun was a word beginning with F and ending in T, and having a sound that sounds like ag, if you get what I mean. For some reason. So UFC and Stipe Miocic are talking contract, and it looks as if he'll be back fighting early next year. But the big thing, officially confirmed later on in the week, UFC 219 at the end of the year is going to be getting Cyborg versus Holly Holm. The closest thing we're going to get to Ronda Rousey debuting back in UFC this year. I think WrestleMania is coming. Oh, wait, it is. Also, apparently, there's a top female athletes in combat sports week going over December. So there'll be a Friday night show on December the 1st with a Fight Pass prelims that features the flyweight season of Ultimate Fighter. It's currently going on. The prelims will also be on before the pay-per-view in Detroit on the Saturday, and then Glory Boxing as well, Glory Kickboxing. Then the following day, the Eddie Bravo Invitational will feature four-and winner takes all submission rules match. And then on the 8th, Invicta from Kansas City, which is the all-women's MMA promotion, featuring Mackenzie Dern's debut in Invicta, which means she's basically coming to the UFC soon. Conor McGregor's trainer, John Kavanagh, says that Conor ain't going to be fighting again until possibly April. They've also revealed that the next season of Ultimate Fighter is going to be a gimmick where all the fighters are undefeated, so they're looking for everybody at the best weight divisions and whatever. With the show taping in January and debuting later in the year on Fox Sports 1. Tyron Woodley's called out Nate Diaz, saying all he needs is a contract to get the match set up. Kat Zingano is going to return to the Octagon for the first time in just over a year, facing Ketlin Vieira at the UFC 222 up in March. Then another interesting one. Volkan Ozdemir, who was going to be facing Cormier for the light heavyweight belt, got arrested in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on charges of aggravated battery causing bodily harm or disability. We don't know anything about it further by the looks of it yet, so we'll see. Shane Carwin wants to be an alternate in Bellator's heavyweight title tournament, apparently. We'll get to that. Paige Van Zandt versus Jessica Rose Clark is planned for the January 14th Fight Night show in St. Louis. John Lineker's willing to step in to face Jimmy Rivera, replacing Dominic Cruz's spot at the show next month. Then who knows? It's interesting stuff going on. And then Nate Diaz's boxing coach says that Diaz likely won't fight Tyron Woodley because UFC isn't offering enough money, even though they're offering him £15 million. Because of reasons, I guess. So, interestingly, Khabib Nurmagomedov basically offered to fight Tony Ferguson. Nothing happened from it. He's facing Edson Barboza on an undercard. And they've just told him, that disaster artist thing you're doing, you've got funding. That went through, which is good to see. And then we get to the time span. Because it was all running late for some reason. Don't ask me why. It just was. There's some odd stuff happening. The odd stuff being, sorry, so having a blank moment because I've been up for nearly 22 hours. He's facing Edson Barboza. Reportedly, according to Daniel Cormier, because he knows people, Khabib basically heard that Tony Ferguson wasn't interested in fighting him. Sounds a bit harsh to some extent. And again, now we can come to one of the big bits, at least for some people. The next season of Ultimate Fighter is going to be. Hang on, where's the notes that I was going to have? I lost it because I'm sort of acting drunk. I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, there it is. That's the one I was getting for. Hawani was pretty correct. So they've just announced the bracket for this Bellator heavyweight tournament thing. So it starts off January January 20th for Rampage Jackson versus Chael Sonnen. The winner of that later on in the year will be facing Fedor Emelianenko versus Frank Mir. That's a classic. That'll be in April. King Mo takes on Ryan Bader on the other side of the bracket in May. And Roy Nelson takes on Matt Mitrione. There you go. That concludes the draw for the FA Cup third round. Ties will be played on the 4th and 5th of January because of reasons. Probably. I'm guessing probably. So, yeah, that's the MMA talk done and doosted.
Good. Welcome, Cleveland, in the chat. Ashley, Cleveland said your voice is dreamy.
To be honest, with how tired I am, it's nearly putting me to sleep. Also, does that make me the true Velveteen Dream?
Oh, wow.
If it's dreamy.
Oh, my God. And on that note, let's talk Ring of Honor.
I am actually Prince. Except I don't do drugs.
Oh, boy.
Well, it's a cause of death. It's positive fact, cause of death.
Right.
So Ring of Honor. More from Philly tapings. They had a Bullet Club promo with Marty leading, saying Flip Gordon's team are just spot monkeys. And Matt said, all you need to know, Flip, is where do you think you're going? Because, that thing. So we start off with Silas Young versus Jonathan Gresham, with the winner getting a spot in the TV title match at Final Battle. Silas getting the win with Misery in a pretty solid match. Pretty good. Then afterwards, the commentary confirmed it's going to be Silas Young versus Punishment Martinez versus Shane Taylor versus the champ Kenny King. Then they had a video package recapping the Briscoes and Bully Ray and all that they've been doing. That's what they did, by the way, for that segment where I talked about the epicness of, Bully's promo from last week, which is somewhat a shame. Unless it was on a couple of weeks back. So before War Machine could even do anything, here come Daniels and Kazarian ambushing War Machine. And admittedly, Rowan Hansen took out the demanding heels and whatever. How one of them managed to throw Kazarian straight into a fan's face. Which is awkward because the fan started then bleeding from the face. So they quickly switched to Coleman's pulpit. But the great thing is, the way it was done and everything, it makes it look even more risky and high profile to some extent. So then Coleman's pulpit with Kenny King. Basically, Coleman was saying that King, to him, that Ring of Honor was using him for his Bachelorette fame. Went on to call King a pimp and using his daughter to make money. And then King then challenged for a World TV title match somewhere down the line. And Caprice basically went, yeah, no. So then Flip Gordon, Coast to Coast, and Scorpio Sky is the best. Bullshit. Facing Adam Page, Marty Scurll, and the Young Bucks. Pretty good match. The Bullet Club winning, unsurprisingly. All in all, again, because we're leading up to Final Battle, a good show for that. On the whole, with the spots and everything, and the matches actually being pretty decent throughout. So next up is...
We are moving on now to, I believe we're going on New Japan. Yep. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
So, in this situation, quickly run through the Lionsgate Project 9 Show 2 results, I guess you want to call it, even though the first one was a month before. Tomoyuki Oka beat Ren Narita with Boston Crab. Then Katsuya Kitamura beat Shota Umino. And then finally, Hirai Kawato beat Tetsuhiro Yagi. As it stands, all three winners are on 4 points. They all have to face each other once, so somebody is going to die, I guess. Maybe. And the World Tag League stuff. So, Goto and Yoshihashi beat Suzuki and Iizuka. Thank God. Juice Robinson and Callahan beat Sonata and Evil in somewhat of an upset. The Best Friends beat the Gorillas of Destiny. And Elgin and Cobb beat Ishii and Toriano. So, pretty eventful show, in all honesty. And kept it simple afterwards. Applause. So yeah, that basically means Goto and Hashi, Robinson and Callahan, Farley and Owens, and Jiro and Hangman are on 2 for Block A. Oh, I never went through the other matches. God damn it. Tiredness.
Yeah.
So the other half of the bracket saw Yujiro and Hangman Page beat Nagata and Nakanishi. Farley and Owens beat Tenkoji. Davey Boy Smith and Lance Archer beat Dave Finlay and Kitamura. And War Machine beat Makabe and Hanare. Either way, coming up literally in a few hours, World Tag League at Kobe Sampo Hall. That'll be the Block A ones. Probably the one that stands out for me for this one would be Callahan and Robinson versus Goto and Yoshihashi. That could be an interesting one. Then Friday, night 6. The big one being Killer Elite Squad versus Elgin and Cobb, I would argue. Saturday, another one, this time back to Block A. Being headlined, at least in the tournament sense, by Goto and Yoshihashi versus Yujiro and Hangman Page. And then Sunday, we'll have Block B again. The standout one for this one, I'd say probably Hanson and Rowe versus the Gorillas to some extent. Tuesday, the same happens again. This time at the Nagano Athletic Park. I guess the big one here is Page and Yujiro versus Evil and Sonata. I'd argue, probably. So when we get to that, we'll be rolling into the following week. So this is probably a good way to cut off, I would say.
New Japan rolls right into Impact Wrestling.
God, I don't know what to think. Do I laugh? Do I cry? Do I neither? So Gail Kim and American Top Team are shown backstage in separate bits, so I guess they're doing something in the show. So the opening match has Ishimori, Lee, and Conley versus Xavier and Garza Jr. Pretty decent match, at least in terms of the style. Garza, Xavier, and Dutt get the win after Trevor Lee getting super kicked right square in the jaw as if he was dead. I'll have to see. I mean, he clearly isn't dead, but whatever. So then Pete Williams is arriving at the building and says he'll challenge for the world title later on. Then there's the video package for OVE. Still doesn't make sense. Then EC3 versus Fowler Bar for the Grand Championship. It's just the first round goes to Fowler Bar and the second round goes to Ethan, and then bloody host with cowbells get involved, of course. So then we get to OVE versus LAX. Dear God. I mean, it was all right for what it was as a brawl, but then at the same time, would I have wanted to watch it at the cinema? In that case, probably not. Obviously, the cult following it's got now is from a different generation and everything. But Dan Lambert says basically, I told you so. We expose pro wrestling for the fraud that it is. Oh, Anthem's already shitting on their own product. Right. I was trying to work that out. So, yeah, it's not too bad a sort of schedule, really. So it's like I do question what's going on. It is a bit weird, and why this Dan Lambert thing's still happening. I mean, it was a good promo, but it's like, what has this got to do anything with the bloody team that you're representing in the segment? And whatever. KM catches American Top Team, begs for a chance to join him, and Lashley goes, "Prove yourself." So then we've got Petey talking about his history in TNA, and then Ali shows up. So we're getting the match after commercials, of course. Okay, I guess we're getting it later or whatever. So Borash is in the ring and putting over Gail Kim winning and saying how, you know, he loved school and everything and loved wrestling and joined a wrestling school and dreams came true, getting to wrestle with people like Trish and Lita and Molly Holly and Awesome Kong and Terran Terrell, and she's had a lot to see for what's about to come next, apparently, because I don't read the comics myself. It might be getting even more crazy. Holy shit. And the main event, pretty solid as well. Eli Drake taking on Pete Williams. And sort of looking for the perfect words to finish the conversation and the dissertation style thing, which I think is a clever move. So all in all, not too bad, but also it's still a sign. You can still see the signs of, dear God, why is this still 3 hours? Or, you know, why does this thing still exist? Nearly as bad as Manos the Hands of Fate. That's what I need to say.
Well, if that's going to be the end of that, then we're moving on to the indies now.
We'll quickly go through the Papa Dave news and whatever before we get to that. So the stuff from last week, Tomoaki Honma is back training in the New Japan gym ever since his injury back in March. So he had to relearn to walk in his 3.5 months there, but he's back and sort of seemingly in the basis of getting some sort of preparation going, which is good to see. Apparently Rob Terry won Natural Mr. Olympia back in Vegas. I don't know why. Just did. The James Storm departure from Impact is official. Apparently, his deal was somewhere in the region of $150,000 to $200,000. He turned it down. I guess it depends on the situation and the culture that was there to some extent, by the looks of it. There's a bit from Orlando saying that 182 million in economic impact happened, along with obviously the theme parks and over the other stuff,
Heck
and
yeah,
anything else that's in the Florida project.
We did really well.
Interestingly, DirecTV carried Survivor Series as a pay-per-view for $25, even though it's still on the network. Whatever. Who knows? Not me. Literally not me. So here's the interesting one. So this is according to the Pro Wrestling Sheet. WWE is in talks with Facebook to provide a weekly show, airing solely on Facebook Live. Apparently, the report is it's going to be debuting some point in January and go live on Facebook as soon as Smackdown and Batman himself basically go off the air, off the grid, and whatever. So it's strange things. Wow. And all that. Then also randomly announced today, which might explain why some of the stuff happened over the weekend. Miz, Maurice, Summer Rae. No, yeah. And the Christmas one or whatever. They look to still be happening. It's just they're getting new writers so you can work out what they're doing and everything. I guess to some extent makes sense. So in terms of the news from this past week, if I quickly get to it, have you seen the rumored schedule, Owen, yet or not?
I see that we're not getting a pay-per-view this year, but it's okay because we got WrestleMania, so we'll get something next year.
So the current the current plans as it is: Royal Rumble January 28th in Philly, Raw's Elimination Chamber February 25th to Vegas. March the 11th for Fastlane, which will be a Smackdown show from Columbus, Ohio. Then WrestleMania April 8th in New Orleans. May 6th for Raw's Backlash in Newark, New Jersey. May 27th in Baltimore, Maryland. We got Payback. Apparently, I've heard is a bitch. Don't know why. July the 15th. Oh, sorry. Following that, on June the 17th, Money in the Bank in Chicago. The key thing to note, Chicago is being listed as a generic program. So as soon as you pick it up in your items, you will actually be playing with power. Quite literally. So what came out of this? Not that much, just that Harper and Rowan are now being treated as Harper and Rowan because of some attire and whatever. Before the SmackDown match, Mustache Mountain took on Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews. Don't know what the result was. Probably somebody won, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, what's next?
That would be it, actually, if there's nothing else that needs to be
Oh,
discussed.
sorry. Again. Sorry, I'm dozing in out of consciousness. Ah. So, yeah, this is the one that I forgot to mention earlier. We're doing a Marine 6. Miz is back, along with Becky Lynch and Shawn Michaels. Basically, the plot apparently is Jake Carter, Miz's character, and fellow Marine Luke Trapper, played by Shawn, stumble upon a kidnapped girl being held prisoner by a dangerous gang of international criminals. They find themselves in the crosshairs as they try to save the girl and bring her kidnappers to justice. Production begins in London this coming Monday. So I guess there's your reason why Miz dropped the belt.
He also got he got Cerberus bombed after Raw went off the air. I just saw that a few minutes ago.
So the 205 Live thing, you know how I was saying how let's see how long the experiment's got. WWE's in talks with Facebook for a new weekly in-ring show, but would probably feature both Raw and SmackDown wrestlers, with a possibility of mixed tag matches being the key thing. Because WWE did apply the trademark WWE Mixed Match Challenge earlier this month. I guess we'll have to see. Crazy shit going down. This NXT weekend, Johnny Gargano and Shawn Michaels had an ab off. Apparently, part 2 of it will be coming at WrestleMania. Daniels defended rightfully him getting put through a burnt table. She says, 1, our business is up. 2, my paycheck's fine. And 3, my career won't be one day shorter. So there you go. Tim Storm has accepted CZW's invitation to be at Cage of Death. MLW's announced that their first show of 2018, January 11th, will be Riddle versus 3 mystery people. Unless it is actually only 1-on-1 rather than 3 people or whatever. Just makes sense for that to be 3. Kamala's doing better than he was, but still not doing great in terms of his health. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers, everybody. Kazarian apparently got injured during an Indie Taker on the Friday Ring of Honor show, so he hasn't been at shows recently. Yeah, still recovering. Just having a quick look through. Now, this was weird. People that didn't have the network were being given the option to pay the $10.99 a month or pay $25 just to get the basically equivalent of the satellite feed legally. That pricing's too high, everybody. Too high. So Ric Flair's suing his old talent agency and whatever. Which is interesting because apparently he wasn't informed of that bit and either, and who knows, strange stuff. However, from that, the actual guys that he's suing are claiming that Rick owes them a load of money and that all the comments are false and everything. So crazy stuff. Otunga's not going to be on TV at least for the next few weeks, I'd have thought. After he's dealing with his, I guess, breakup, because they weren't actually married, were they? from what I remember. Owen, was Jennifer Hudson and Otunga married, or were they engaged?
Oh God.
I think they're engaged.
Let me look into it real quick.
The big thing that came out of it is basically he has custody of the kid for a period of like tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock US time, right through to 7 p.m. the following night. So they're trying to do some sort of a amicable arrangement, which is good to see. Hiroshi Tanahashi is confirmed for Rev Pro's show in New Orleans. Bill Goldberg's going to be on the Goldbergs tomorrow night.
They never got married. They were engaged. Okay, out of this, they were engaged in 2008, and she gave birth in 2009, and of course, they recently split because of reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing separation without marriage.
Yeah, from what I can tell. And they confirmed that Ric Flair will be part of Starrcade this coming Saturday with the house show. And of course, Anderson and Gallows versus the Rock and Roll Express. So now to, I guess, the results and whatever, and this coming weekend's action and stuff. One thing that was a bit of a shame to see, because I was going to get covering this a lot more, Lucha Forever that's cropped up in the UK over the last few months. They literally had to cancel their show on the day of the event in Southampton. In the little press release that they put with it, they said, quote, "There's many changes that are currently going on within the company that range from minor to major changes. Unfortunately, I've seen several logistical issues arise, which has caused us to have to cancel and move the show to another date somewhere down the line." So they are taking refunds, and then if people won tickets through competitions and whatever and want to use them to go to a different show, they can. And they won't be back until 2018. So the show a few weeks back was their last one. ICW. That all crazy stuff. So, but the TV tapings, the first bit had Kaylee Ray, Katie Forbes, and Viper and Casey in women's tag action, ending in a no contest because the heels and faces clashing and whatever. But then the returning Carmel Jacob came out, praised ICW Mark Dallas and the women's division, and says that the women are more insane than the men, and says that she's going to be the special guest enforcer for the women's title steel cage match. The Filthy Generation beat Jody Fleisch in the Kinky Party. Then Joe Hendry's open challenge was against David and Matthew, apparently. David got pretty easily squashed, but then Matthew apparently sang Time to Say Goodbye pretty well, and then Joe attacked him. And Sam Barber Experience got attacked. And Hendry's response was, "Guess what? No special entrance tomorrow." And it's like, boo. So the Carlos Valderrama Invitational Battle Royal was won by DCT. Ravy Davey beat Bram, so he's in the ladder match for Fear and Loathing. The Kings of Insanity contract signing with Havoc, Whiplash, Renfrew, and Stevie Boy happened. They all signed it, apart from Whiplash, who then attacked Jimmy Havoc, put him through the table, and then signed. Of course he did. The Fight Network beat the Purge. Yeston Reese beat Aaron Echo. Bird and Boar then showed up. Well, they showed up during the Reese Echo match and then attacked Aaron Echo afterwards. Then the weigh-ins with Coffee and BT Gunn. Coffee's 240, BT Gunn's only 195. There also is a You Fat Bastard chance. So I think that's your lot for at least the ICW TV stuff. We then get to Fear and Loathing, which is pretty crazy. The number one contenders ladder match. There's a ridiculous bit on their social media, their YouTube, with Jody doing a jump off a ladder off the top of the ring to the guys on the floor. I think it was a backflip 450. I think. Pretty crazy. Polo Promotions beat Bird and Boar to become the new tag champs. Afterwards, Yeston Breeze tried to attack Polo Productions, but out came Kevin Nash to put a stop to it. Because, he's the commissioner. Kenny Williams got a big upset over Rey Mysterio. Stevie Boy won the King of Insanity 4-way over Whiplash, Renfrew, and Havoc. Basically, Stevie put Whiplash through a table with a Glasgow Destroyer. Then, thanks to Carmel Jacobs' good officiating, Casey beat Kaylee Ray and Viper, so we got a new Progress Women's Champion. It's always good to see. So there was a Lionheart, Rob Van Dam, and Zach Gibson triple threat elimination match. Lionheart eliminated Gibson after RVD had hit Gibson with the frog splash, and then Lionheart won outright anyway against Ali. So here you go. And then the main event, BT Gunn making history, having both the 0G and the world title, beating Joe Coffey. Basically, during the match, the official got knocked down, which led to Kevin Nash coming out. And Coffey hit Nash with a steel chair, and Nash no-sold it. Dunn kicked Coffey, and then they gave Too Sweet to each other. And then two men in BT Gunn masks started showing up and attacked and said, "Who delivers super kicks to just the delivery guy?" Shenanigans afoot there by the looks of it. With Smash Wrestling, nothing major this weekend. Tyson Dukes retained against both Frankie the Mobster on the Saturday show. And the Sunday show, beating Dylan Andrews. Like, once again, the chef excellence taste testing stuff. CWF Mid-Atlantic. The 16-man Cibernetico was survived by Ethan Alexander Sharp. Mike Mars beat Metallico, Number Boy, Cool J in a fatal 4-way. 3-on-1 handicap match. Wow. That's pretty ridiculous. CL Party and Mecha Mercenary and Aaron Biggs survived the 5-on-5 elimination. They're in good form. And then CW Anderson, Zane Dawson, and Brad Attitude beat Trevor Lee, Rick Converse, and Chet Sterling in the 2 out of 3 falls triathlon survivor thing. First fall went to Trevor Lee, beating Brad Attitude by DQ. Then Anderson and Dawson beat Converse and Trevor Lee by pinfall. And then the 3 heels beat the 3 faces by pinfall. In case you're wondering the structure, the first time is basically minute by minute. Well, second by second, I guess. Then minute by minute. Then clearly with the TARDIS and everything, years and years. House of Hardcore, their show. If you remember, I talked about it a little on Saturday because I was watching it in places where NXT takeover was happening. So Bull Dempsey beat Hunt Young Briley. MVP pinned Lance Anoa'i. Matt Cross defeated Petey Williams, and then Eddie Kingston attacked Petey afterwards. Ace Romero hit Victorlicious, or beat Victorlicious. Nick Aldis pinned Billy Gunn. Super Crazy and Little Guido beat the Spirit Squad. Willie Mack beat Luchasaurus and Matt Riddle. Then Austin Aries came out and cut a 10-minute promo about being yourself and all that jazz and having his book out and everything. And I was like, you didn't need to do that. You could have made it sound more upbeat and make it sound better. But no. And then the first blood match. So this authority figure comes out that's supposed to be, I guess, like a network style guy, and says, as soon as there's blood in this match is over. And there won't be another show later. But guess what? There was blood. Except it was Joey Mercury's blood. Except the referee didn't see it, so they wiped him clean. I think thanks to some of the judges with towels. And then, I don't know. Thinking about it. Oh, yes. So Shane hit the ring for the save, but turned on Dreamer. Because basically Aldis came out to interfere and whatever on behalf of Mercury. Sandman came out, but then the Briscoes came out attacking Sandman and Dreamer. However, so before all this, just after the from what I remember, just after the turn from Shane, Tommy gets thrown to the outside and gets thrown into the ring post, and he falls down sort of by the apron. And then you see his hand moving across his head. And then you see him rapidly, like, stabbing himself. So, yeah, this Wally, apparently, one, it's either out, or two, it's an awkward film. On Point Wrestling had their Masters of the Map 3 tournament. Ultimately won by Unbreakable Andy, beating Drake Chambers in the final. However, other stuff happened on the undercard as well. Nick Gage beat Dominic Guarini. And Drew Blood beat Tony Deppen to become the new On Point Wrestling champion. Congrats to him. The Shikara triple header. So starting off in Kennebunk, Maine on Friday. Oleg beat Hermit Crab. Des Peloton beat the Rumblebees. Gulak, Rory that is, beat Icarus, made him submit to the Gulak. Jeremy Leary and the fake Assyrian Portal beat the Main Street Posse. Aiden Aguirre, Alexander Lee, and Danger Kid. Mark Angelisetti missed a touchdown, beat Missile Assault Man. And Cyberhawk beat Defarge and Cromwells. With a stickered splash off the top from Silverhawk to Defarge. Then the Saturday, what's that one called? Dark Water. Had Icarus beat Missile Assault Man. Oleg the Usurper pinned Jeremy Leary. Hello Wicked victorious over Mark Angelisetti in a reversal of what was going to be happening, I guess. Ophidian retained the Young Lions Cup over Officer Warren's Barksdale. Dash Hatfield and the Rumblebees beat JFC, Defarge, and Cromwells. And then Quack beat Smashmaster with an armbar. Key thing to note here is that Remsburg and Bacabella were both referees, and Quack knocked Bryce out by accident with a palm strike, and then there was an armbar, and then refused to acknowledge when the Max Smashmaster tapped out, and then yelled to the timekeeper to just ring the bell due to the pain he was in. Who knows where they were going to go? Was it Hawaii? Was it Australia? Was it McDonald's? Probably not the latter one. Just saying. Then Kill the Moon on the Sunday. We had the Furies of Solo, Travis, and Fire Ant beating Gulak, Leary, and Sloan Caprice. The Assyrian Portal beat Des Peloton. Hello Wicked beat Missile Assault Man. Murloc, Hermit Crab, and Cajun Crawdad victorious over the Cyberhawk 2000 of Silverhawk, Razorhawk, and Nighthawk. And JFC retained the ball when basically the ball went into not administration. What do they call it? I don't even remember. Mine's gone blank. Next up, JFC Coronado retained over the Proletariat Boar Moldova. Boar missed a spear, and then that went into a turnbuckle that Juan had unveiled and uncovered. So it's a shame, I would say. Oh, and then Dasher Hatfield beat Keith Lee because that's actually the main event. And then the encore was Los Ice Creams beating Defarge and Crummels. So then we get to Survival of the Fittest. So Stephen Amell was the guest host for the show. And then Bullet Club basically made him join. So the Survival of the Fittest first round matches results had Silas Young beating Josh Woods, Shane Taylor beating Beer City Bruiser, and Punishment Martinez over Jay Lethal. Kenny King beat Joey Ryan to retain the title, the TV title that is, and also Bullet Club and Addiction, Flip Gordon, Scorpio Sky had a great 8-man tag with Amell actually doing some action, which is pretty refreshing, I would say. Then night 2, the other Survival of the Fittest matches had Jonathan Gresham, Flip Gordon, Matt Taven beat Vinny Marsaglia, TK Ryan, and Cheeseburger, respectively. Then the Motor City Machine Guns of Sabin and Shelley beat the Dogs with the with all that was going on and everything, which is a pretty crazy situation as it is to some extent. Motor City Machine Guns beat the Dogs, Ray Cometa and Estrange, and Young and Bruiser to basically reminisce and reload on stock and whatever from whatever. Kenny King retained the TV title against Scorpio Sky, and Cody Rhodes retained the world title over Daniels in the Texas Death Match. Basically, Daniels couldn't answer the 10 count after the aforementioned powerbomb through the flaming table and whatever. So then night 3, Jay Lethal beat Josh Woods with the lethal injection. Then Gregory James versus Cheeseburger never really happened because the Briscoes came out and said it's time for us to be commentators, and then of course nobody did. That's a bit awkward. Joey Ryan beat Kid Kataro. Silas Young, the Bitter City Bruiser, then came out, but basically they weren't going to be able to do anything. Or, you know, basically it wasn't for him, it wasn't for the title, it was actually for the ring and what it represents, I guess. So I guess Cody will be kissing the ring. Probably. Deonna Purrazzo made Madison Rain tap out to an armbar. Kenny King cut a promo saying that due to an injury to his lip, the Oklahoma Commission wouldn't let him perform, so he did commentary instead for the rest of the night. Daniels cut a promo on Dalton, leading into an impromptu match, which Castle won with a bangerang. The Bucks beat Vinny Marsaglia and TK Orion, a 2-on-1 handicap. And Punishment Martinez once failed the Fittest, pinning Flip Gordon. I don't know who pinned who and whatever, but Taven was the first to go, followed by Taylor, then Gresham, then Silas Young, and then your boy Jordan, I guess. So this coming week, Southside Wrestling has a double header. Queen of the Ring starting off in the afternoon. So there's one non-tournament match, which is Casey Owens versus Saraya Knight, which should be good. So with the tournaments, it's Lana Austin versus Sami Zayn. Sami Jane. Yeah, you can tell I'm running on little sleep. Shana versus Sienna. Viper versus The Session Moth, and Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm. Pretty strong list, I will say. The 4 winners of that will go into a 4-woman tournament final. The Ill Manor show, a few hours later in the evening. This is where the other stuff's happening. So we got Chris Tyler versus Blake, El Phantasmo taking on Gabriel Kidd, Adam Maxted versus Bram, Brady Phillips versus Robbie X, Chris Ridgway versus Brad Bones, a 3-way tag match with JBH facing CCK facing Scarlett and Graves. There's going to be a 6-woman tag match with Lana, Austin, Saraya Knight, and Sienna facing Kaylee Ray, Casey Owens, and Sami Zayn. And then the tag champs, Joseph Connors and The Session Moth, face Alex Gracie and Shana. Sticking on the UK front, Progress Wrestling's Live Your Best Life. Unsurprisingly, it's sold out at the Electric Ballroom in Camden. So the big stuff on here. The Progress World titles on the line with Travis Banks versus Matt Riddle. Toni Storm puts the women's title up for grabs against Alex Windsor. Strangler Davis puts his Progress Atlas Championship match guarantee up for grabs against Timothy Thatcher. I guess because he wants to face Volta. Maybe. Eddie Dennis versus Jack Sexsmith. Joseph Connors taking on Flashman and Webster. There's a pre-show match of Beauty in Combat tournament qualifier with Damon Moser versus Chris Ridgway. And then the number 1 contenders no DQ match between Dahlia Black and Ginny. This has been personal for months. And we're going to determine who faces whoever the champ is, I guess, somewhere down the line from this match. C4 up in Ottawa. I've got a double header. This Friday, they have Near Dark at the Vernier Columbus Club in Ottawa, Ontario. The big match on this one is a number 1 contenders triple threat with Bucks Belmar, Matthew St. Jack, and Tyson Dukes. The winner moving on to the following night. We'll get to that. We've also got Vanessa Craven versus Sebastian Suave. Hallowicked taking on Brent Banks. High and Mighty versus the Fraternity in tag action. Thomas Dubois versus Joe Hendry. Sexy Eddie and Jeff Cannonball 1-on-1. Sonny Kiss taking on Tarek. And then a 6-person tag. Maybe 6-man. Not sure. Dino, Benjamin, Raheem Ali, and Shitty. Yes, that apparently is his name. Versus the Virus, Justin Salakele, Mark Wheeler, and La Pulga Victor. They're then following up the following night with the Prestige, or as I call it, the Prestige. So, as of the previously mentioned match between St. Jack, Belmar, and Dukes, whoever wins that defends the belt or takes on the C4 champ, as well as the C4 Underground champ, Kobe Durst. I believe the C4 World title is the only one up for grabs. The Underground Championship will still stay with Durst. Josh Alexander and Keith Lee go 1-on-1 for the first time. LAX face 3.0. Oh, wow, they're back. Nice. Except it does say Big Magic and Scott Parker. I'm trying to remember whether Shane Matthews is Big Magic. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno go 1-on-1, so the Super Smash Brothers collide there. Thomas Dubois versus Frankie the Mobster. Heavy Metal Chaos, the tag champs, face Fight or Flight in a rematch for those belts. Cecil Nix takes on Super Coptic Justice 1-on-1. Space Monkey versus Brute Van Slyke in a 4-corner match. Michael Von Payton versus Francis Novak versus Matt Angel versus Shane Saber. Key thing to note, The mask that MVP currently has will be up for on the line and up for grabs. All that stuff. So we shall see. 2 shows also up in Canada from Smash Wrestling this weekend. So Saturday, they're at the 505 Campbell Street in Sarnia. This one featuring Tyson Dukes versus Joe Hendry. I'm guessing that's for the title as it stands. Maybe. Tarek versus Mark Andrews and Matt Cross in the main event triple threat. Also, Xandra Bale versus Alexia Nicole. Halal Beefcake take on the Riot Makers. Mike Rollins and Scotty O'Shea. And Brent Banks with Sebastian Suave and Anthony Kingdom James for the duration of this match will be handcuffed to Counselor Brian White. And then the following show, the next day, slightly, I'd say mid-evening to some extent. Good things only end badly, this one. So we got Vertigo versus Noah's Kaito Kiyomiya. Halal Beefcake versus Heavy Metal Chaos. Scotty O'Shea taking on Kevin Blackwood. Frankie the Mobster versus Joe Hendry. That could be an interesting experience. Petey Williams taking on Kevin Bennett. Mark Andrews, Sebastian Suave, and Tarek in a triple threat. Tyson Dukes taking on Brent Banks. And Seidel and Cross face the Super Smash Bros. Draw. Is it rigged? Who knows? AIW has its Hell on Earth 13 show this Friday night. Relatively strong card here. We got 5-on-5 match though to start off, or perhaps not to start off, but whichever. Marino Tenaglia, Weird World and Space Justice, which by the way is Space Monkey and Dick Justice, of course. Face Trey Lamar, Garrison King, AJ Gray, Joshua Bishop, and Malcolm Monroe. Magnum CK versus PB Smooth. Lucius Linden taking on Grindo Loco. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams versus Filthy Tom Lawler. Ethan Page one-on-one with Dominic Guarini. Jimmy Jacobs one-on-one with Colt Cabana. That could be interesting. Jody Fleisch, Matt Cross, Laredo Kid, and DJZ in a 4-way match and everything. And I don't think anybody else got sword swallowing duties, have they? By the looks of it, no. The main event, though, Tim Donst defending the absolute title against Nick fucking Gage. That could be interesting. On Saturday, AAW up in Chicago, having their next show at the Logan Square Auditorium. Some of the talent set to be on here, but not set to matches yet, are Jake Something, Connor Braxton, Paco, Kurt Stallion, and Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett, the tag champs. The main card, though, itself is Flip Gordon one-on-one with Myron Reed, ACH taking on Sammy Guevara, OI4K versus Trey Miguel or Stephen Wolf. Because they haven't decided which one's which. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just coming up with Biffish lies. Probably the other one. So we got Shane Strickland versus Fred High as well. David Starr and Trevor Lee team up to take on AR Fox and Eddie Kingston. Zema Ryan takes on Penta for the Heritage title, and Ray Phoenix defends the heavyweight title against Jimmy Jacobs. Will it be a new era? Will it be an old era? Who knows? Tickets, though, are $30. So if you want to stay off it, I believe it will be coming to Powerbomb TV sooner rather than the later. Next, Beyond Wrestling, the Tournament for Tomorrow female edition, and Beyond Wrestling sort of Powerbomb TV pre-show. So for the pre-show that was free on YouTube, we've got Ace Romero, Brian Malonis, Josh Briggs, and KTB. John Silver versus Orange Cassidy. The dream team of Maxwell Jacob Freeman and Jonathan Gresham facing Hot Wheels of Wheeler Yuta and Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. And Nick Gage versus David Starr, because no, there actually aren't any reasons that time. Dear God. Yeah, because it's a classic. I'm sort of thinking, anybody could get their head into it and whatever. Probably to make some sort of sense, I don't know. Probably doesn't, because again, I'm sort of dozing in and out of consciousness. Can you tell I'm getting slightly delirious?
I mean,
Thankfully, that's nearly all that we've got to cover, because the tournament for tomorrow itself, apparently, rip the female sex symbol because it doesn't know what it is on Notepad. Sad face. So the matches in the first round for Women's Revolution, because it's beyond wrestling, but it's Women's Revolution sort of is the sister company, quite literally, because it's the female promotion. So we've got Davy M versus Vanity, Jordan Grace taking on Skylar, Karen Q versus Willow Nightingale, and Tasha Steeles versus Tara Calloway in the first round. There'll obviously be semi-finals and finals as well. Solo Darling, Alley Cat, Sea Stars, and more will also be involved. And the 3 matches confirmed that are non-tournament: Alexis versus Jenny Rose, Veda Scott versus Sonia Strong, and Deonna Purrazzo taking on Madison Rain. So they're doing that match from Ring of Honor again, I guess. So that's your lot. Somewhat still busy, even though we're in the Thanksgiving timey thing. Looking at next week, there is somewhat a big list of titles again, with House of Hardcore having another show, CWF Mid-Atlantic, Preston City Wrestling, Shikara's season finale, Rev Pro. I think that Evolved WWN stuff is the ACW show. Defiant Wrestling, the rebranded WCPW. Rise, I think, is doing a couple of shows. The side promotion to Shimmer, and also Fight Club Pro. I believe it was originally the listing said it was going to be this coming weekend, but it's now moved to next weekend. But so be it. It's got Loki and Eddie Kingston on it, and Homicide, I think. So there you go. I guess good things come to those who wait. So I think in somewhat record time, because I got knackered and trying to get through it all, so I can literally do a Ric Flair and go to bed. That's your lot for tonight.
an extremely appropriate statement, given the fact that tomorrow is Thanksgiving, or tomorrow is Thursday, depending on where you are in the world.
No, it's Thanksgiving for me, just because MST3K Turkey Day on the internet. Yes. And hell, apparently I've got a new tradition, because it's Tony Schiavone talking about, I can't even remember, Starcade, is it?
I don't know.
Yes, the original Starcade from like '86, the last one before it switched.
Well, the only thing I can say to that is roll tide. So,
I'm bad man.
Klondike Bill, where are you? The thing is, yeah, I've been listening to that a lot lately myself.
I actually had a look at the schedule for that coming up to Christmas week. On Christmas Day, they're doing sort of live play-by-play and recalling the Nitro before Starcade '97.
Oh, nice.
And then on the 28th, so the Thursday, they're going to be doing Starcade '97. So they're literally doing the feeder show in and the big pay-per-view all in that week on the 20th anniversary of those events happening. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
That's your show. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It is Thanksgiving tomorrow, which also means that Sip and Snack's returning. Don't know what it's going to be. You'll have to wait and find out. Once again, as always, thank you to everyone that has listened to a podcast, that has checked out a video, that has stopped me in a theme park. Anybody that has stuck around for this wild ride we've had here called Popcast Network, I'm thankful and grateful for all of you. And to my friends, my amazing friends who obviously are going through the ringer right now with me right now due to personal issues, thank you for sticking by my side. I truly appreciate it. Don't worry, when it's all said and done, everything is going to be worth it in more ways than one. And that's more than I feel comfortable saying out loud right now. So everyone knows where I stand. So there's going to be the end
Loud
of that.
noises.
Exactly, loud noises. So thanks everyone for joining us tonight. If you do celebrate Thanksgiving, hopefully you have a great Thanksgiving, eat a lot of food, and I will be spending Thanksgiving alone actually. So yay for that. If anything, maybe something will come up. Hopefully it will.
That's what MST3K's Turkey Day is about, though. You just watch 9 hours of fucking awesome old school stuff, especially because from what they said as well, it's some of the best episodes as ranked by IMDb.
Oh, nice.
So they're actually going for the ones that people like and not we're showing these, which hopefully means the rest of the world, unless they buy it through the digital services or whatever, the rest of the world actually gets to see for free Operation Double 007. Did you know that Sean Connery had a brother called Neil? You will when you see the film. Dear God.
So, like I said, that's our show. Once again, Sip and Snack returns tomorrow. Versus and AJ's movie reviews is coming this weekend. Gaming with Ash will be returning soon as well, so stay tuned for all that content coming up.
I was going to do something, and then it just got even more tasty with EA, because now apparently various states and countries are saying that EA's version of loot boxes is illegal and might not. This could be the start of the downfall of this industry, at least in terms of microtransactions, in terms of loot boxes. I'll discuss it more and give my take on the issues at some point within the next few days, I'd have thought. It's getting crazy.
All right. So, also, Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I am on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK.
Follow me on Twitter at Siro Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page at Popcast Network. And if you're so inclined to shoot me an email, SiroandDisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Thanks for sticking around for the Popcast Network. Thanks to all my friends, all my family, and all the extended family I have here on this network for following along and having fun with us every Monday, every Wednesday, and occasionally Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all points in between. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Turkey.
Victory is mine. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.